Hello, welcome to another video of Code with Toyo. It's been a while we wrote anything fun in Python, so I just want to give this out for free so that you can just pull up your Python skills and just catch fun while doing something. Let's we have what we call IP addresses. IP addresses are just logical addresses that runs on a network that identifies computers from places to places. That means every computer have a logical address, and again, we have what we call MAC address, which is physical address. All these things are for people in networking. But then, if an address can identify a system, a host, that means the address can actually hold some information about that host that we can extract. So let's see how we can use Python to extract some key information from an IP address using as simple as the request libraries. So, like you know the drill, we want to use the request package, so we have to import um, the request. I will import it as R. So most of the time, as soon as we import a package, it becomes available for us to use in Python. So we are going to write first a flat code, then next we'll convert it to a function. If we have enough time, maybe we'll just put it into a Streamlit app and just do something fun with it and see how you can get the details of our own system, then try to get the details of other people's system and all of this. So let's get straight into it. So now this is telling me that the request is not available, probably because of the um, Python interpreter I'm using. So I'll switch back to a much earlier interpreter, which is 11 and 3.11, and now I have it. So what do we want to do? We want to use an IP address to get details of a particular node. We'll start from testing it on our own node. So let's get straight into it. So there's a particular URL that you can always use to get some details of IP addresses is existing on the internet. So we'll have a variable for URL, and we're going to paste this in as URL. So for every request, we're expecting to get a response back. So let's have a response variable that we take the request we imported and get the particular URL for us. So this brings back something based on that. Perfect. So what do we want to get from the response? Let's say we want to just convert the response into maybe a JSON file. But most of the time, response returns with status code. You can write conditionals. I don't want the video to be long, so I won't be writing too many control structure here. I'll just go straight into it. So I can just say, I want the response to take let's print response and even see did we get to the part we want to get to response. So if I should run this should go straight into it and give us a response based on what we see. What can we see in our response? This is returning 429. So just if you don't know about error codes or HTTP codes is another video on its own. But I ideally want to say 200, but we're not seeing a 200. Let's try and grab on something. Let me say data will now be response converted into JSON. Then I want to print out the data and see did we get anything returned to us at the end of the day. Ba, 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 ba. So this brought back an issue that we need to just try to decode and fix. It's saying document position request exception JSON decoder expect value at line 3 column 1. So let's figure out that. So I checked to see what was going on, and I had to visit this particular site where we are actually pulling the information from. Normally, this site is used for IP lookup, and it gives not the actual location, but approximate location based on your IP address, your latitude, your longitude, and this is 100% based on your ISP, your internet service provider, and you can see it saying MTN and all of these things. So you can always check it on Google Maps. You can do a whole lot of things from here, but then we want to use these guys to connect to a Python code to see it, maybe build our own app based on them. So the problem was, I think the problem was I was hitting this URL too early, and they are suspecting that I am a chatbot. That's why they are giving me a response code of 429. So let's add a timeout here and see how can we put a timeout. Maybe say 7 seconds. Or you import the time in Python and slow down the process. But I'm just adding a timeout to our get URL, so it takes its time to get that. So let's check the status code and see what we have. We are expecting to see a 200. A 200 means the connection was okay and we got something back. So again, 429. Should I add a timeout up to around 10? It's just detecting my IP. I'm accessing it on the browser and this at the same time. So they are not trusting my connection just yet. So still 429. So I'm increasing the timeout. I'll keep increasing it until maybe I get access to, and I just need to see a 200 and I'll be able to do whatever I want to do. But now I keep getting a 429. So I'll just wait a bit, pause the video, purge out some cache from my browser IP and see what happens. So after several search on their site, I discovered that they had two API endpoints. One, it's a little bit more secure to protect probably their servers, their systems from denial of service attacks and all of these things that continue sending requests. So it has higher rate limits for free accounts. But this particular one, which connects to the HTTP version, not secure, it's able to respond. And yeah, we got a 200 from it. So let's see what can we use this for from the response code. So first things first, I think we should just throw this into an exception handling so that um, so we want to do an exception handling here, and this is just basic simple. So if you want to try this out, want to do a get URL based on that, convert data into JSON and print out data. If not, read an exception and tell us there is an error in our code. So we can also add our timeout here so that we don't run into that issue of maybe a timeout of 5. Then we can raise some sort of error here, some sort of notification if we see an error for bad response before we now convert it into our data and then we print our data. So let's run this and see what we'll now get at the end of the day. So this saying an error record expecting value 1 character 0. Let's check that out again. So I'm doing this with all these errors on purpose, so you see how you look at errors, go back to your code, see what is going on and fix it. So I added more exception checks to check for JSON decode error, to check for request exceptions, and even to check for HTTP error so that we can catch all these things early. So let me run this again and see what we have. So perfect, this works. And the server responded and returned a JSON format for me, just like I did here. I converted the response to a JSON and I printed data. So a JSON is one of the standard data type data type in API responses. API responds in a JSON format, or you do a conversion before the data hits your application or whatever you're using it for. So it says it has a status of success, a country, Nigeria, country code, NG, region, and all of these things. So that means I can extract all of this information from just that little query. So how can I go ahead and want to print them out one after the other? So you access a JSON using more like a dictionary uh, query in Python. It's a dictionary query in Python. So I'm saying I want to see the IP from my data, which return my entire data, get me the query. So if you look for the key that says query, this is the key that says query, and the value is IP. So this brings out the IP. City, same thing. It gives us back the city. If I want to see the ISP, I get ISP. It gives me MTN. I can see the latitude, the longitude, the time zone, the region, and so many other things that you can see from this. So this is just basically how to use a simple Python code to connect to an existing website. So by the way, I had to call the JSON form version of this particular API before it responded without giving me those errors. When I run this one more time, I can see now that, oh, okay, the IP is this, the city is Abuja, and the ISP is MTN Nigeria, approximate location. So if you want me to do this kind of videos, maybe transform this into a simple application where somebody can just put their IP and do a simple search, you know, you can just shoot me an email or a chat. I'll definitely do one for you. So this is all for this particular video. See you in other videos. Bye for now.